In 1971, a group of protesters gather in New York to demand the release of a pregnant Phoenix Shakur, who had been accused of a crime she did not commit, but managed to prove her innocence despite the difficulties she faced as a woman of color. A reporter decides to interview her and learns about her dissatisfaction with the racist government, as well as her promise to continue fighting for true freedom for people of color. Then, in 1975, Tupac Shakur, a young man, listens to his father. Mother Lo gives a speech about courage to people of color in which he encourages them to be proud of their skin and rebel against those who oppress it. Years pass, and Phoenix is in the Bronx in 1982, having a heated argument with an FBI agent who is watching them. Mule Lulu, her partner, is wanted in connection with the murder of 2 police officers at Christmas. Tupac and his sister are given a couple of notebooks as a gift, while their mother is advised to go high in order to keep them safe. The FBI comes to their house that night and scares the family. But when Mullally, who had already left, Phoenix, tries to assert her rights, the ages simply tell her that her husband is a bank robber, and that is why they are there when the waters calm down. Phoenix, 5 years later, her 2 children and Tupac decide to accompany them to Baltimore. Tupac is a theater student who excels at performing Hamlet. He meets Jada, whom he describes as his true best friend there. Tupac returns home after school to discover that his mother has been sleeping all day, depressed by the capture of Mother Lou. Lex, a man, unexpectedly arrives at the apartment with groceries. Since Phoenix is unable to work, it appears that this man has been caring for them. Lex takes Tupac outside to talk with him, telling him that he can trust him and ask for help if he needs it, which Tupac appreciates. However, a man passes in front of him, and Lex stops him and then beats him up because he owed him money. Tupac is affected by this scene because he was unaware of the blacks' other side. It was just one bad day. Tupac is surprised to learn that he and his sister will be moving to California at the request of their mother, which he argues with, because she does not want to leave, but ends up avoiding the conflict and leaving his house to avoid causing more strife. He meets Layla outside, telling her the news and then giving her some verses he wrote, especially for her, which makes them both emotional. It is the year 1988 in Oakland, California. Tupac is forced to seek employment, which leads him to begin rapping with the assistance of a woman named Layla. He meets the right people, which leads him to become a member of Digital Underground, a hip-hop group with whom he toured her. Tupac began to dream as the audience yelled his name. He returns home from the California tour with his sister sometime later, where he discovers that his mother is also there buying illegal drugs. Tupac comes across her and confronts her, punching the vendors and telling her not to be weak and resist. Tupac becomes enraged and storms out. Days later, Tupac asks the stunned leader of Digital Underground if he can have a star moment, threatening to leave the group. Shocked G eventually accepts, and the world gets to know Tupac. It didn't take long for him to release his own album. His artistic career takes off, and he not only makes music but also gets some acting roles in movies. Time passes, and Tupac meets Ted Fields of Interscope Records, who appears to be interested in a deal. This one, on the other hand, complains that Tupac's lyrics are too loud for the audience. Tupac responds, claiming that he sings about the reality of the streets and that he should not change that because it is his way of speaking for those who are not heard by the white government. Tupac eventually persuades them after placing his song in a location where Ted and his partner noticed that the content, despite being explicit, was well received. Tupac decides to take his mother to a rehabilitation center one fine day. Later, he visits Mason County, where a group of men picks a fight with him, claiming that he has never done anything for the community. Tupac decides to confront him, which results in a fight that is cut short by the sound of gunshots. Everyone disperses, and it is then revealed that the victim was a young boy. Tupac is inspired by his father's revolutionary methods after becoming tired of violence. At the same time, Tupac is enjoying a day with his family when he learns that the vice president is discussing his album on TV and criticizing it. His mother, who had just gotten out of rehab, expresses her concerns that they will try to silence him because he is a leader in New York's black community. Tupac appears with Notorious B.I.G. in 1993. Following the concert, They discuss the power that comes with being influential rappers, and Tupac invites him to be something good. Tupac meets a suspicious man named Nigel one night in a club, with whom he becomes fast friends because he appears to be in the movie business. Nigel warns Tupac about Knight because he is a dangerous individual. Tupac, on the other hand, does not appear to want to listen to him. Soon after, he meets Pictures, who pays him a large sum of money for his latest song, which Tupac enjoys. However, Trump, his manager, appears to disagree with the source of that money. Tupac decides to disregard the warnings once more, especially because they were running low on funds due to mismanagement and the cost of his lawyers for the numerous times he had been in prison. Time passes, and Tupac is having a good time in his limousine after a show when he witnesses two white men beating up a black man. Tupac and his partner get out of the car to intervene, but one of the white men pulls out a gun, forcing them to return. When Tupac returns to the limo, he pulls out his own gun and shoots at the assailants, wounding one. As a result, he is arrested after it is revealed that the assailants were off-duty cops. Soon after, the rapper departs, and they meet in a club with Nail, who informs them that he knows the judges and has nothing to fear in that club. Nail introduces him to Brianna, with whom he has a delightful time. Later, Nail arranges for them to meet in a hotel. However, Brianna only gives Tupac a massage because he refused to spend the night with her in the morning. Brianna follows you, accusing Nike of abusing her and blaming him, claiming it happened because he didn't want to be with her. Brianna departs, and the police quickly seize both your pack and the shell. Tupac defends himself in front of the press, accusing Michelle of setting him up because the other had already gotten away with the crime. Several of them decide to murder him, but Nike refuses and orders them not to. However, some of them refuse to obey and secretly plot Tupac's death. On the other hand, the rumors of abuse are having an effect on you. On November 30th, 1994, I lost shows and movies while on my way to the recording studio. Tupac is shot 5 times during an attempted robbery that nearly kills him. Tupac decides to leave the hospital as soon as possible. Sure, all of that would have been a trap, and they are after him. Days later, he is debating the trial of Rihanna's abuse, in which he finds the culprit passing his trial on February 8, 1995. Tupac is currently in jail for a crime he did not commit. Your Pac's life in the prison begins, where he is mistreated by the officers. He arrived in prison on his first day. Tupac hears Biggie's song, which discusses what happened to his pack. He realizes here that Billy was never his friend, and that he was the one who planned his murder, and that he and Nike intended to lock him up so that he could be the best rapper of the time. After seeing him agitated, an old man from your pack approaches him and tells him that if he wants to get out of jail, he should let that hear that it's not worth looking to make Billy pay and ruin his chance to live a free life. Tupac appears to comprehend and calms down. Tupac is visited by his mother one day, and he gives her advice on how to survive in prison because she was imprisoned when she was pregnant with him. After a few weeks, your pack decides to contact Big Shoes, who had once told him that he could call him in prison if he needed anything. They both disagree about a new death row project that Tupac agreed to. Tupac is released from prison, and as part of the death row records, he is greeted with gifts in Death Road. Tupac collaborates with Dr. Dre on new songs, marking his return and meeting Snoop Dogg the same day at a party. Tupac meets his former manager, Atron, and thanks him for everything he has done for him. But he's now with Death Road. Poe appears to understand, and both are on good terms as they say goodbye with sadness, but not before advising your pack to take care. Following that, they discuss the name of their new album at the Tupac label, when several of their associates arrive, claiming that a group of colored men assaulted one of them and took off his chain. They plan ahead of time so that everyone has an escort. Death Row goes to a club at night and meets Piggy's wife, to whom Tupac invites them to be in a song together, which she accepts and implies that they spent the night together during Tupac's concert. He shows his appreciation for Piggy by singing a song about what he did to his wife and all the bad things Billy did to him. After the concert, she vowed vengeance. Take him to task about what he's been saying, claiming that the man she met wanted to use his voice to bring people together, not for what he was doing. They now talk about it, And Jada departs with her, heartbroken by her friend's attitude despite everything. After a while, your pack appears to be happy with a girlfriend and her contract with Death Row is about to expire. Her partner admits that she wants to be independent after that, but she is afraid of how he will react. However, your pack advises her not to be concerned. It doesn't take long before your pack decides to approach her. But he won't let her go, claiming that despite his success, he owes her money. His records, it appears, have not made the promised money. Sushi meets with your pack the next day and decides to let him go only half-heartedly, but to open a death row session on the East Coast, which would be directed by your pack to be more independent. The departure of Deathstroke East creates a conflict because the East Coast public prefers Vicky, and after Snoop Dogg stated that Billy and his friends were your packs. He believes Snoop betrayed them all while they were on death row. They eventually reject Snoop because of his behavior, which causes the rapper to fear for his life. Tupac and the rest of Death Row met in a casino on September 7, 1996. And, by chance, Dan runs into the guy who robbed his partner a long time ago, and they beat him up together. Then your pack returns to the hotel to prepare for his trip to the club with Tupac. He was in the car stash when a white vehicle unexpectedly stopped next to him at a traffic light. A gunman shoots your pack several times. These are the injuries that eventually claim the rap legend's life, and thus the film ends. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. To assist the channel, enable notifications and leave a light on. Thank you for taking the time to watch.